Welcome to Fat Man on Batman. I'm Kevin Smith. Okay, kids, sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men or flying mice and men, or which would be deflator mouse and men, which is the bat and men and Batman. Sometimes those plans often go astray, as somebody greater than me once said. And this weekend was one of those occasions. I talked about doing Fat Man on Batman live at Stanley's Kamikaze with Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar, three of the stars, the three remaining stars from TV's Batman, the 60s, 1966, 1968, Bill Dozier Batman series. But as it stands, that wasn't the case. We're going to have all three of them on here at the house separately. So we're making arrangements for that right now. That's going to be awesome. And that's the way this show really should be done, one-on-one, without thinking about an audience to try to entertain or please. We had a real good time with Bruce Timm, and I had a great time with Adam West last night. But the notion of this show, Fat Man on Batman, is really getting deep down under the skin, the tights, if you will, the cowl, the cape of Batman, and how that character interacts with our guests, or how their lives intersect with the character of Batman. And so when you're doing it on a stage, in front of people, vibe changes altogether, because you're thinking about, can't let the audience get bored. When you're just one-on-one at home, you don't care about people getting bored if they're listening, because you'll never see them. But when you're in a room and you're seeing people get bored, man, the entertainer in you is like, oh, let's keep this snappy. Let's keep this moving. In the case of this episode of Fat Man on Batman, this is not as deep as I would like to go with Adam West. We went tip only, just the tip we played with the dude. That was it. I want to go balls deep, man, with Adam West. And that sounds dirty, and it should. To do that, we're going to do it here at the house. Going to have all three, Adam West separately, Burt Ward separately, Julie Newmar. That's going to be fantastic. In the room at Stanley Kamikaze, it was, first off, great show. Go next year. Hopefully this becomes the permanent Los Angeles Comic-Con. But the room fucking loud. It sounded like we were in a casino, because all those bodies in there, all those people playing all their media and stuff. So on stage, Adam West and I could barely hear one another. I was so worried that we weren't going to have anything on the actual recording, but thank God we were plugged right into the board, and you'll be able to hear it. But it's not meaty at all. Fun, lights, not really all that hardcore in depth. We'll do that later on here at the house when Adam West comes, when Batman comes to my house. Thank Christ. Been waiting for that since I was fucking 5. So, but until then, man, consider this, if you will, a taste, a soupçon, if you will, a soup con of Adam West goodness, of true West, man, because I got to sit down with a childhood hero, boy, and it was delightful, man. Okay, man. So there's all the disclaimers. If there's any sound fuck ups and whatnot, my apologies. Nothing is perfect in life. The moment you leave the fat cave, Batman will tell you that himself. When he leaves the bat cave, shit goes south. In the bat cave, he can control 100% of his environment. When he leaves the bat cave, he loses 100% control of his environment, his 100% ability to control his environment. But we all know Batman forces his will onto even the most chaotic situation. So I guess that rule, to every exception, there's a rule. Batman, even when he leaves the Batcave, 100% control of his environment. Me, however, still not Batman. Been training for years. Don't have quite the ability or talent. More like Harold, the hunchback who builds knickknacks down in the Batcave during that period when there wasn't too much of a Robin, and they wanted to give Batman some help. So Norm Breyfogle run, man. They had this hunchback living didn't even talk. That was convenient, because then he couldn't be like, hey, Batman is fucking Bruce Wayne. Go figure, because that'd be a real icebreaker, man. When you're at a bar and you got that fucking hump, and people are like, yeah, you fucking freak. And you're like, hey, I work for Bruce Wayne, and you know who he is? He's the Batman. I could show you. Bring her back to the Batcave, some fucking easily impressed chick, man. Get laid up against the fucking Robin costume glass case. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Fat Man on Batman heads west with a little bit of Adam West. Take it away, Fat Kev from the past. Okay, man, how's everybody doing today? I can't really welcome you to something I don't personally have a stake in or own, but if a guy can, welcome to Kamikaze, folks. It is awesome. If you're listening and you haven't been, make sure you put aside dates for next year to come out because Los Angeles deserves its own con, and this really fits the fucking bill. It's fantastic. Okay, we're going to do a little show. I do a podcast called Fatman on Batman. Some of you folks have heard about it. What we're going to do today is do one live. I've only done one in front of an audience once before at the San Diego Comic-Con, and that was with Bruce Timm. The great Bruce Timm. Now, as you can hear in the room, it's pretty loud and whatnot. I'm going to have to bury the mic into my mouth. I'm going to apologize in advance to every mother with a child out there. Things tend to get a little salty. I'll try to keep it clean considering it's a big, wide room. Think of the children. But to be honest, it's going to be fairly easy for me to keep this clean today because today I'm going to revert back to my childhood. We are all the sum total of our experiences in life, but who we aim to be, that's the sum total of all the people that we look up to, our heroes, the people that you've seen go before, do things that you say you want to do, people that influence you, and they're not even necessarily people you always meet. The very first hero I had in my life, I'm 42 years old, and I've held on to this hero since I discovered him, was Batman. Batman meant the world to me as a kid. My first exposure to the idea of justice, of a caped avenger, of somebody who just wants to do the right thing. And my first exposure to Batman, ironically, was not through the comic books, and it wasn't through the cartoons. When I was a kid, on PIX, Channel 11, back where I'm from, back east, they would run a double block of the Batman, Bill Dozier Batman show from the 1966 to 1968. And they would run back-to-back episodes, and that's where I discovered them. So from age 4, I had this little black and white TV with rabbit ears that was sitting in the kitchen. My playroom was in the kitchen, which explains this. So I'd sit in the kitchen, and every day at the same time, it was began 3:30 because we were home from school. I'd immediately go to the TV. That was my friend. I didn't have real friends. I had this black and white TV with rabbit ears. I would sit down, turn it on, and wait. And there would invariably be a commercial for Perfection, the game that my parents would never buy me because they said that I would swallow the pieces. And right after that, boom, they went into the adventure. So my first Batman shall always be Adam West. Now, like I say, man, who we want to be in life, who we are is the sum total of our experiences. Who we want to be is the sum total of the observations we make, man, of the people we meet and our heroes. And based on that, this man is insanely influential in my life. Everything I learned about decency that didn't come from my parents, because your parents can't teach you shit like this unless they get killed in an alleyway. So I learned my moral code from watching Batman, and my Batman, my Bruce Wayne, was Adam West. So now that started when I was 4 years old. Today I'm 42. That's 38 years influenced by a guy that I literally only met just 5 minutes ago, and I almost rolled a tear, man. So I'm going to sit up here and we're going to chit-chat with him. We have a brief amount of time. It's only about 50 minutes, 50. So we're not going to be able to do his entire career, which is what I like to do on Fatman and Batman, but hopefully we'll bring him back to my house and do a much longer session. But for today, since we're all gathered here, since we're all at the Kamikaze, and since we all love Batman, we're going to concentrate directly on those very specific years where he was the Caped Crusader, but I would argue that it's never stopped. Adam West will always be my Batman. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Adam West. Hello, sir. Have a seat, legend. This is the first thing you notice when you meet Adam West, man. Adam, how old are you for the kids at home?
I have a birthday coming up next week. I'll be 44.
A very spry 44.
Yes.
At 44, you look far more in shape than I ever have, ever, even at birth. What is your secret? How do you stay so damn in shape? You're like Batman thin, dude.
Well, I think it's. Am I on here?
You are. You got to get right into it.
Or you can hear me. Okay. I think it's gargling with vodka. I'm not sure, but no. Kevin, seriously, it's the way you think, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you're a guy who's curious. You're probably going to ask me something, right?
Yeah.
But if you're curious and enthusiastic and just get that foot out of bed in the morning, you too can stay absolutely in shape.
And that's coming directly from the mouth of Batman.
Batman, the dynamic duo.
I'm going to cry. Okay, we'll get you right into that mic. We got to bury our faces deep, and we'll make sure everyone taking a picture don't substitute the microphone for something else in post, man. No photoshopping, for heaven's sake.
Cruel.
It happens, dude. Every time I have a microphone this close to my face, I sign online. It's like, suddenly I'm bringing ecstasy to some dude I never met.
That's right.
But let's keep it on. Let's keep it on you.
What? The same thing? Oh. No, Kevin. Yeah, go on.
The year that you got cast, the year that they were like, hey, man, it came down to you and Lyle Wagner, correct?
Well, that's what somebody told me, but it really didn't. Because I was signed at the moment I walked in and they saw my legs. No, I read the script. And I told the agent, if they really want me to do this, I've got a fresh approach and get them to sign me in the next hour, and I'm going to do it. So what happened was they used Lyle as a threat to keep my price down.
So he was like, what do they call us? Like a straw man, a stalking horse, if you will? Like they pitted you against him.
Yeah, I love that, Kevin. A stalking horse. May I write that down? It's my next novel, Stalking Horse. It's wonderful, but they did. And Lyle is a great guy and a good actor, and had such a wonderful run with Carol and the other stuff, and the Wagner star dressing rooms.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like he actually went on to create this whole side business with the star wagons. When you go on a movie set or a TV set, and they're in a trailer on set, the guy who owns that business is Lyle Wagner, the guy that they pitted him against to get the price down. Did it work? Did that make you lower your price?
No. I had a good agent.
What was the approach that you had? You read it and you were like, I have the take. Did you know when you read it?
You look in my eyes and you know. What? Yes.
Yeah.
I read it, and that's the best thing, isn't it, Kevin?
It is.
When you get a script and you read it and you realize the writers are writing for you and they know what they're doing, and we all got married to the same kind of context, if you will, the same direction for the show, and that's why it worked, because it was funny and fun. You know, they have The Dark Knight now.
Yeah. Way dark.
I am the bright knight.
You're fucking adorable, man. When you sat down, did you say to them, I'm going to bring this particular type delivery? Because when I think about your performance as Batman Bruce Wayne, it's definitely in the way you phrased things.
I was drunk.
No. But was that a choice? Was that you for that role, or for you for everything?
Kevin, you're right on to it. It was a choice. Because I figured if somebody was all the time musing and solving crimes 24/7, he had to muse a lot and pause and think. Yes, Robin, I think that it would be Pengy.
When you just said Robin, I pretended you were talking to me.
I hope you got all warm and fuzzy.
I did. But when you say that to them the first time, does anyone pause and go, "Oh no, that's not it," or do they buy into that vision?
You know, this gentleman here has some wonderful questions because you're absolutely right. It's the first time I've been asked, and they didn't buy into it on the stage. When I started and I began to do the way Batman talks and Bruce Wayne, somebody said, for example, oh, no, that's not the way the Lone Ranger did it.
Really? They wanted you to model it after Clayton Moore?
Kind of. And I said, well, then you're going to have to find someone else because I can't talk like that. And I don't have a nice horse and a sidekick that looks like an Indian guy. I can't do this. So if you'll shut up and leave me alone. And guess what? The nicest thing, as Kevin knows, that can happen to an actor, and ask the pirate Johnny Depp. Same thing happened to him with the pirate movies. If they leave you alone, and if you know what you think they want, and you do it, then to be trusted is the best thing that can happen to an actor. To be trusted so you can do your thing and try to bring something fresh and creative. And I'm going on too long, Kevin.
No, man. That's what everyone wants to hear.
It's a bore.
But who was your in that instance, who was your padrino? Who backed you? Who was the one that was like, no, he's on to something here?
Guess who? The executive producer. Are you a producer?
I've been sometimes.
Well, then you know. When the executive producer, the producer backs you, and you share the same vision, you can get it done. Now, I've been fighting crime for 42 years. You know, everywhere I go. I'll just stand here and let you admire my incredible crime-fighting physique. That's enough.
So who was it, Bill Dozier?
Yes, Bill Dozier.
And he was like, "That I like this."
Wait,
like the studio was maybe like, "We don't get this."
There were memos flying and telephone calls from Spain and all over the world saying, "Who is this kid? What in the hell is he doing? This kid is a little boy running around in tights." That's what I did a lot.
Right.
And Dozier said, leave him alone. I've seen the dailies. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. To have that kind of trust from the money people.
Money? I'm being paid for this? What? Oh.
Speaking of which, was it a moneyed show or a moneyed job? Like the first year you did it increase when the show took off, or?
Well, the show hit so huge, as you people know. It was number one in the ratings, and it was like we did 120 episodes, and sometimes 2 a week.
Really?
Well, like the early Western movies were shot. We were running, and sometimes I had 3 scripts in my hands, and a guy going like that to tell me which script we were on.
Because they were doing like block shooting type stuff?
Yes, exactly, Kevin.
Ooh, block shooting, if you don't know what it is, when you're on a TV show, man, sometimes, let's say, like, you're doing Batman, and there's like 4 scenes over 8 episodes in the Batcave. Rather than shoot one and then go away and come back a weeks later and shoot it again, you just shoot all the sequences in the Batcave, even if they're not related at all and in the same episode. So for the actor, you're trying to keep every separate story straight and what you're bringing to each scene and whatnot.
You described it quite well, and it's not easy, is it?
No.
But once you get onto it and you can handle yourself like that, then you'll find that they push you even harder.
Right away. They're like, if you could do 2 a week, why not 3 a week?
Why not 8?
What was it like, man? Like, before it took off, were you enjoying yourself shooting? Was everyone getting along? Was everyone digging it? Or were people like, we'll see if this takes off?
Well, again, it's a good question. I think it was almost 60-40, that those who got it. Like you people get it. But there were maybe 40% who didn't really quite get it for the first couple of weeks.
Right.
And I tried never to be late, which is good, you know. As Batman would say, better to be 3 hours early than a minute late, Robin. That's so silly.
No, dude, it's not. Like that's what does it do for you? Like that means the world to me. I'm 42. I've done some stuff, and I've had sex. So hearing something.
You look too young for that.
I know, right?
For sex.
Yeah, very. My wife tells me the same thing. She's like, "You're too young for this. You're not very good." But I'm a man, and I've lived a somewhat like a decent life. But still, at age 42, just hearing you rock into those lines, it takes me back to a place. And even here in this room, I'm just like, "Oh man, that's awesome!" It's when you meet people that you can literally reduce to tears just by standing in front of them. What kind of impact does that have on you?
Are you saying then, Kevin, that my audience is usually reduced to tears?
Yeah, man. I've definitely heard of people. I've met people over the years who've been like, I met Adam West and I couldn't even speak, and then I started crying because he meant so much to me. Ralph Garman, who's a friend of both of ours.
Yes, Ralph.
Ralph Garman is absolutely one of those people. When he talks about you, and he knows you, and he's a contemporary of yours, and he was a huge hero. He helped get you the star on a Hollywood Walk of Fame. Wonderful guy, but even when he talks about you, even though you consider each other friends, he still gets, for a dude who's bitter and hateful and black-hearted and stuff, he really he reverts back to childhood whenever he talks about you. There's wonder in his eye, and more importantly, there's hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still instill hope in people based on that performance years ago, and still being here today. People just look at you and think about hope. I think that's what I see in Ralph's eyes. Just like, hey man, I went through some shit in life. Life is shitty, and your life is a real mouth fucker. But as long as Batman's here, as long as I can stop and think about Batman, and it's his Batman like my Batman is you, Adam West, it brings him back to a better place, man. It makes him a happier person.
Kevin, I don't know what to say. You've said it so beautifully. Really, I'm very impressed with me. I just no. It's a lovely thing to be able to bring people what Kevin described, to bring people hope, a nice smile or laugh, some happiness. I'm not getting the 20 million pops a picture, so what? Oh, jeez.
I'm right there with you, Batman. I know the feeling.
No, it's a wonderful thing to have people who are truly loyal fans.
When you got the gig, did you go back? I mean, was there such a thing as research then, or did you just read a bunch of comic books?
Well, no. My research really, quite frankly, was sense memory, or however you want to put it, if you're Stanislavski or somebody, Actors Studio. But my way to do it was to remember when I was a kid, and I was out there playing Batman. So I tried to, to summon all of those feelings and the joy and the fun of playing Batman and Robin. So the moment I pulled on that cowl, it was like, hey, let's go out and play Batman. Come on, let's go play Batman and Robin. Let's go. I'll be Robin. It happens that easily. As you know, Kevin, with an actor, there's certain things you use, either from the inside, the outside, or both. And it makes it easy to get into the character.
Now, let me ask you this, man. Batman, of course, career-defining role, but when you think of your entire performance career, your history of performances, what for you is the one where you go like, that is West at his best? Like, what's the one that you love the most? We all love Batman, obviously, but you might have something that's not Batman.
Well, I have Hamlet, of course.
Which one? Where? When?
No, this is Omelette. Omelette? No, Hamlet was. What was his name? No,
Piglet, Hamlet's father.
Yes, that's right. Is he?
Yes.
I think probably one of the things that I did that was the most fun was a pilot I did that never sold, written by Conan O'Brien and his sidekick, Robert Smigel.
Look well.
Thank you, Kevin, for remembering. But Look Well, they say, is the funniest pilot ever done that never sold.
The premise, tell them what the premise was. It was a pretty genius premise. You could catch it. You can jump onto YouTube. You'll find it. They used to run it on Brilliant but canceled on Trio. They would replay it quite a bit. Explain the premise. It was really quite genius.
Well, first, could I say one thing out of pure vindictiveness and meanness?
Please. Batman has a dark side. Go ahead.
Here it is, Kevin. No one's ever heard this. The other day, when Piers Morgan was interviewing Conan O'Brien, he was putting him down, and he used me to put him down further. He said, Conan, you wrote the pilot that got the worst rating of all time, starring Adam West, when you were trying to resurrect his career. That was a nasty thing to say.
Wow.
What he didn't know was the damn thing never even aired.
Yeah.
And now it's playing in theaters as the funniest pilot of all time. So get that, Pierce. Just take that and stuff that where you know the... Yeah. Sorry. I was...
No, man, get it out. That's good.
No, I was...
Piers Morgan is your Joker.
Yes. Oh, I was so cheap to say that.
But what was the tell them the plot. Tell them the plot of Look Well. I'm sorry.
Well, Look Well is about a guy who was a TV detective hero for years. He had like 7 years of run. And when he left the series, he'd read so many of those dingy scripts and things that he actually believed. You know, some actors have that problem. I am Batman. No. He actually believed he was still the detective, and he kept bothering the cops. And, volunteering himself as the guy who could solve the crime. And he was totally bumbling. He was like the Pink Panther. And I loved the way they wrote that for me, and it just worked because I love comedy. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I love comedy, and I did so many dark movies and things that deliver the laughs. That's where the joy is. Deliver the laughs. You're not laughing. Oh, God.
I think that they're just trying to listen. I think the sound in here it's tough. It's because we're in an open room and you can hear there's like con activity going on.
What a good host. What a nice host.
It is. It really is, man. They've done a great job at Kamikaze. Again, next year, come on down if you're not here right now. Yeah. It is the Los Angeles convention. Now, you've been to tons of these, man. You were probably around for the beginning of the convention circuit, like when people first started gathering in honor of shows that, maybe weren't on the air anymore.
It was 102 years ago, and I was there. Yes, I've been to a lot of these. And I find, quite seriously, Kevin, that there's no better way to service, if I can use that word, your fans than coming out and meeting people, shaking hands, having a little conversation, giving their kids a moment of fun and happiness. I'm going to weep.
Have they changed considerably over the years? I imagine like this one's pretty massive. I think the figure they were throwing around for this year is between 30 and 40,000. What, like the early ones, I imagine were a couple hundred at best, maybe?
Well, Kevin, if I don't have this kind of turnout, I'm a failure. I have done, on the other side of the coin, when I was a young boy in tights, I have done a few appearances, for example, in a corral with a Brahma bull. And me in tights and a cape, that didn't work.
What were you doing? Were you like running around being chased by the bull?
Yes. Toto. Oh, I have done so many things in my career, you can't believe it. I have done the worst movies ever made.
No. I've done the worst movies.
Oh, you have... We'll have
You're okay, man. You're safe.
Well, I wonder. Thank you. We'll have a worst movie duel. But I've done some bad ones, a couple of good ones, and you have too.
Yeah.
And 5 television series. Oh, I've been so lucky, Kevin. I've had a career that's been 50 years of nonsense.
And not only does it span 50 years of nonsense, how long you been married?
Which wife?
Either or, go ahead.
Honey, I'm teasing you. No, don't throw that. We've been married 42 years. Isn't that wonderful? I have to applaud my wife, Marcel. She has infinite patience.
She would have to, dude. I'm spending like 20 minutes with you, man, and I know.
Yeah, you know what it
requires the patience. God, that's impressive as hell, especially in this business. Entertainment business, marriages tend not to last that long. How do you, I mean, I know this is a weird question for a comic book crowd, but I'm a married guy. I've always looked up to you as a role model, so I'm going to extend that into personal life. How does one keep a marriage together for 42 years?
If you will send me your wife, I will.
I wouldn't send her to many, but, you know, I'd be like, honey, slide down that bat pole.
Kevin. Kevin, now that you mentioned polls, I had the largest. You remember Robin's poll?
Thin and unsatisfying.
I can't do that. but
what is it? What is the glue of a 42-year marriage?
I think the glue, if you put it like that, the glue is the fact that she's smart. She has a sense of humor. Number one, have some wit, a sense of humor, which this crowd has, because they laugh at us.
Yeah. At, not with. Right at.
At, right.
So she's been there for 42 years.
Yes,
man.
And she's cute.
Do you run? And she is very cute. I remember backstage.
She is.
Do you run lines with her and stuff? Like when you get a script, or you're like, let's run lines together?
I try.
What do you mean try?
She says, forget it. No, she doesn't like to do that because she knows that I'm really a private person. And like many people in this business, and Kevin may be the same way, I'm extremely shy and introverted. You know, when I'm not on stage, when I have to do something like this.
Right.
Yes, this is very difficult. But
you have to build up an inner life to that moment because you spend so much time in here when you're like, oh, I got to go be front and center and stuff. It does take a certain degree of like, some people think like, come on, that's not a real job. But it does take a certain degree of like, okay, I'm going to be up front. I'm going to be on a stage today. And that means something to somebody who is naturally more introverted. Like when I'm not doing this, I power down like C-3PO.
So do I.
Yeah.
Same thing. I live in the woods. And I go up and I fool around with the moose and the bear and the wolverine.
Where is this? This is where? Where do you have your place?
Our main house is in Ketchum, Idaho.
Idaho.
Yes, it's on a ski mountain. It's really neat. I wish I could ski. No, it's very nice.
Do you really? You have animals up there? Like, do you see moose?
We do. I thought we were talking about my wife.
We were all over her, but then we had to jump over
to
something else.
No, we have animals, yes.
Do you really?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've had a terrible back for a week because I had a tangle with a large brown furry animal.
Do tell.
A big poodle.
Whose is that, yours?
Yes, it's true. My wife has this gorgeous poodle. Bred for hunting, by the way.
Really? They breed poodles for hunting?
Yes, that's crazy, but it isn't. Because they were the dogs that were bred to hunt in the Royal Forest. You didn't know I had a Royal Forest?
It would stand to reason. It makes sense. So, all right, so you're out in the woods most of the time surrounded by nature and whatnot?
Well, yes, I'm just going along with that. You know, what you said. When you're not doing your work, and you're not trying to be nice to people and do your thing, I become very introverted and just want to kind of read a little or hike or talk to my wife, and maybe I eat too much.
Not at all, dude. I'm serious. You're way in shape, man.
Well,
it's crazy. Like I would, if I'm you, I would have let myself go years ago.
yeah, but let me show you. This morning I had a little pain in a toe.
Okay.
And it spread all the way up into my crotch. And then when I bent over, I got this kind of searing thing on my back. I want you to see.
Bane. Not Bane. Wrong Batman.
Bane. You're right.
What was it? What is
Bane.
it?
My God. Bane. I would hate to face Bane.
What was it? What was the pain?
Oh, it was running after the dog.
Yeah.
You see, it's nice to be human, isn't it?
It very truly is.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, man. When they wrap up Batman, when they're just like, hey, we're going to shut it down at this point, were you relieved, or could you have done it for another 5-10 years?
I couldn't have done it another 5 minutes.
Were you done at that point?
Yes, I was. We'd done 120 episodes, and doing them quite quickly. And I think the quality was beginning to suffer in the last season. And they were trying to save too much money.
Right.
And they knew, Kevin, that all they had to do was go into reruns with that kind of product, and they'd get their money back. And you can understand that. But I was so tired of itchy tights.
And you said at that point, you're like, I'm happy to see it go.
And I thought, I'd go into something else because I was voted the most promising film star of the coming whatever. Nothing.
What? No, nothing right after Batman?
No. What happened was the old Hollywood thing, I was so typecast that everyone saw me as Batman. It took me like 5 years of living on the beach under the Santa Monica Pier. It took me like 5 years of going out doing theater, the Mark Taper Forum, whatever, just to keep trying.
What were you doing at the Mark Taper Forum?
I did a thing, a Volpone.
How was that?
It turned out very well for me, but they didn't come calling. Every time I'd get shortlisted for the lead in the film, then they'd say, well, what would happen with Batman in bed with Faye Dunaway? It was tough. But you make up your mind to sober up and take advantage of what you're talking about. People love Batman. Why in the hell don't I love Batman? You see?
Yeah.
So then I began to get maybe a little smarter and say, hey, I do love Batman. Let's keep branded. Let's do Batman stuff too.
Keep him alive.
You bet.
And they did that. I remember I was there watching. You can probably find it on the convention floor, or you can, again, find it on YouTube somewhere. The superhero roasts and stuff like that, where they'd bring other DC characters in, and then you came back and played Batman. Then the book, which I loved so much, Back to the Batcave. And then the TV movie was actually kind of fun, too. Did you enjoy doing Return to the Batcave? The you and Bert got together?
I was a little disappointed with the TV movie because it was done too quickly and without enough attention. And, I work very quickly, and I like to do one take and be fresh. And it didn't quite work that way, but I can't complain. Right. I mean, they paid me.
to do a biopic, essentially.
Yes, just right. Send me the check. But the book is done very well, Back to the Batcave.
Yeah.
I have another one on the way.
What is it?
It's called Climbing the Walls.
Nice. Good title, man.
Yeah, it's Climbing the Walls. It's kind of a double meaning, I guess.
A little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit there.
Now, you've had also, over the course of the last, 10, 20 years, this massive career in animation. Like, you've become a voice. I'm sure most cats here know you from The Family Guy, of course.
Isn't that fun?
That is so fun. We'll go to it in a second. I know you more from I had a kid who used to watch Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I was watching it with a kid, and all of a sudden Catman came on. I was like, Catman, that's funny. I was like, that sounds like Adam West. I was like, that is Adam West. But it's kind of opened up these doors for you, man, where we do Family Guy quite regularly, and a lot of cats know you from that. A lot of people know you. A whole generation knows you as the mayor of Quahog.
I know. I keep reinventing myself like Madonna.
Soon you'll have like a bullet titty bra. One of those things.
Check the pics.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning Family Guy. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And Seth MacFarlane and all his folks are really terrific. When I got the star on the sidewalk in Hollywood after 50 years,
yeah,
I made the Guinness Book of Records as the guy who waited the longest.
They made you wait unnecessarily, unfairly, but you got it.
You know why I waited? I didn't want to pay for it.
Is that what it was?
So what happened, and I am so grateful, the fans bought it.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
That
so
is
nice.
Awesome. That's tremendous. And he was there. Seth MacFarlane was there the day you got your star.
He was there, and he made a lovely speech. And Seth is a terrific talent and a wonderful man. And he deserves every one of the billions he's making.
And also, another dude was there that day. If you look at the video, you can pop up on YouTube, and you'll see the video of the ceremony with Adam getting his star. It's right in front of the Guinness World Record Museum, I think, right there on Hollywood. But if you look at the video, you see Ralph Garman, who was very, very instrumental in championing getting you the star, standing there about as proud as he could be, like basically as if his own dad was getting a star.
Oh, he's wonderful, wonderful. I mean,
now you met him on Kevin and Bean.
Kevin and Bean, yes. Isn't that a good show? The first time I did that show, and they've been really proponents of my career. And Ralph was there as the film critic. And he just, it's wonderful. He doesn't let loose, you know. And Ralph also does Family Guy.
Yeah.
And then Ralph and I are talking about a series. Yeah. So this is a wonderful man who has great taste.
He does. And he does a really insanely good Adam West, too.
He does?
He does. Oh. Yeah, it's unnerving. Like, if you close your eyes, it's almost...
Well, I am now.
Well, he's not here. But
Ralph?
If he was, boy, he would take you right to that place, man. But it's cute that you guys have this really special relationship, man, that he looks up to you so much. And that is a dude, again, I know him real well. He don't look up to many things or many people at all in life, but he still gets childlike about you. Bring that out of people. Look, man, years on, this many people still stop. We're not even in a seated auditorium. These cats are all standing to kick back and listen to you talk.
Kevin, thank you for saying that. I am so grateful for the career I've had over 50 years and for you people always showing up for me. This is a wonderful thing, wonderful. And if I can do anything for you, you're all invited to my agent's house for dinner if you have nothing to do.
I'm going to take you up on it, man. Let me ask you this before we let you go and break off. What's left for you to do? What do you want to do, man? There's still a bunch of hills to climb. What's the thing that when you look at your books, your notes over the years as an artist, as an actor, what's the one thing you're like, I still want to do this, man, and there's still time, and I know there's possibility. I'm still chasing this, because you've had this amazing career in life where you've accomplished so much and got to do so many things that probably you never imagined as a kid from Walla Walla, Washington, that you'd ever get to go and do that stuff. But having done all that, man, sometimes folks in the creative community, they see a hill, they climb it, there's another hill, they want to keep going. What's left for you? What do you still want to do?
Oh, Lordy, Kevin, that's such a great question. I mean, just send the check. I'll do it all.
Really? Even anal?
Honey, help.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, I have gotten to sit here very briefly and talk to a longtime hero of mine. Hopefully, you'll come over to my house and we'll sit down and do a long session where we go through your entire life on Fatman, I'm Batman.
You would be the best possible therapist. I need you, Kevin.
We'll definitely do it.
Thank
Give
you
it up
so
for
much.
the man.
Thank you.
The
Thank
legend,
you all.
Adam West. That's Fatman on Batman for this week. Tune in next week for more talk about Batman. Same bat time, same bat channel, smodcast.com. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of Kamikaze.